So I wanted to make a quick video about some of the pens that I use during the Inktober challenge in October. I purchased a couple of pens specifically for the challenge, these right here, and then there were a couple that I had that I use fairly regularly, these, and then some that I purchased a long time ago and had never used. So I wanted to go over kind of my thoughts on each pen, pros and cons, and yeah, I thought that this might be useful for anybody that's kind of considering maybe purchasing one of these and is on the fence. So let's get into them. Starting out with the Stabilo pens, that is these here. I only bought like 5 of them in some kind of jewel tones, but I did really like them. The lines are really bold. You can get some variety depending on how much pressure you apply, but it is kind of difficult to get really fine lines. One thing that I really liked about these is that they do not bleed through. I didn't have any problems with them going through to the other side, which was really nice. But I will say that they are not waterproof. Next up was the Pilot Parallel Pen. That's this one here. Open it up so you guys can see. I do like this pen, but I did have a little bit of trouble with it. You do get some really nice like line variety, really like thin lines and thick lines, but it is a little bit scratchy on the paper when you write with it. At least for me it was, which is a little bit of a sensory nightmare. And it does bleed through. Let me flip over to the next page so you can see. Not terribly, just a little bit, so not a huge deal. The main problem that I had with it though was that it is very slow to dry. So if you are, drawing with pencil and then wanting to go over it and then erase, probably not going to work for you. This is all like the smudges that I did with the eraser. And even after knowing that and waiting a while for it to dry, it still smudged a little bit. So just keep that in mind. I think that this one probably may be better suited for like urban sketching, fast drawing, that kind of thing. Next up is the Sailor Feud pen. That's this one here. This one I feel like I liked it for all the reasons that I like the parallel pen, but without the issues that I was having. So a little bit of a different setup. It's like a bent nib. This one is really smooth to write with. You do get all the different line variety, like really thin lines, thicker lines, and it doesn't bleed through, at least not for me. I didn't have really hardly any bleeding through, just like 1 or 2 little spots here. And it dries really quickly, so I was actually able to, pencil some stuff in and then erase, and didn't have any problem with smudging. So really like that one, probably my favorite of the bunch. Next up is the Master's Touch pens. That's these here. You do get a lot of different options as far as sizes go. I use these pretty regularly, so these were not new to me. But I will say that they are very good for like hatching and things like that, with the fine tips. But you do need to carry a lot of pens. I think that probably is one of the downsides. They don't bleed through, at least they haven't for me, even with the brush pens. And they are waterproof, so they're great for mixing with other things. So here's where I kind of like colored, and yeah, see there's no like bleed through. And then I used alcohol marker here in combination, and the alcohol marker bleeds through, but the pen does not. Last up is the Posca pens, and these also I did not buy specifically for Inktober, but I did use them for the first time. I was really trying to challenge myself to try new things, so we experimented with Posca pens, and I also really like these. Not a lot of line variety because of the type of like tip it has, just kind of a round tip. The felt tip is a little bit rough on the paper, especially if you try to go over areas that are like just freshly painted. I would suggest waiting for layers to dry before going over them. You can layer, but just wait in between the layers. And they're really opaque, very kind of graphic, I would say. And they don't bleed through, which I thought I was going to have a problem with, especially with the kind of rough, the roughness of them. But yeah, like even with this one where I went over a lot of areas, there was no bleed through. So these were really fun to use. I do recommend them. And yeah, those are the 5 pens that I used for the Inktober challenge. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Happy to answer. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.